You're listening to Entrepreneur's Enigma, a podcast about the ups and downs of the entrepreneurial journey. Every week, your host Seth Goldstein interviews entrepreneurs from all walks of life about their entrepreneurial journeys. From store owners to Fortune 500 CEOs, we all have stories to tell. So sit back and join us for the next 20 or so minutes while we explore the entrepreneurial world.
Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of the Entrepreneurs Enigma podcast. I am your host as always, Seth. Today I have a good buddy of mine, Pat Thompson. He is a multifaceted entrepreneur, learner, helper of startups, all that good stuff. He spends most of his time helping early stage companies create their communication strategies. And he was editor of the North American region for the tech publication CoinGeek out in San Fran. Now he's in the Philadelphia area, and he started Bootstrap First Incubator, which is how I met him, because one of the startups I'm helping out with went through his incubator. And now he is helping a few early stage founders on their journey, but now he's moving on to his journey a little bit more, and he's helping other companies with their in the AI space through an agency in London, because he's preparing to go back to law school. Because he's insane. Because why not learn something else? But honestly, if you think about it, it's a natural progression. Because you've been helping people out. You have your own little kind of side hobbies like roasting coffee and snowboarding, all that good stuff. But now, and you've been helping all these startups, but also knowing what the legal ramifications are there is also very helpful as well. And also working with the company in London in the AI strategy and communications is also helpful, because you can help the founders with everyone has AI in their systems now. If you don't, you're like, what are you doing? Like, you need to have some kind of AI something going on in there. So it's interesting. So how's it going, Pat? How you doing today, bud?
It's going good. I mean, thanks for the kind words. You summed it up pretty good. Things are going good today. I mean, just like you said, yeah, I kind of started doing what I was doing, kind of in like the PR marketing world, working with emerging technology companies, kind of had the chance to play an even bigger role, like helping them tell their stories. And that was that tech publication that you mentioned called CoinGeek. I still contribute there from time to time.
If and then when you have time, which is like when you have time, you're
we make time. We make time because
as much as you can. Yeah.
And then on top of that, I kind of had the opportunity to help startups kind of through like a more of a venture capital capacity, but that was through 2 startup incubators. Yeah. Saw the good and the bad, what
you see all kinds,
what companies are doing right to help startups, where they're going wrong, kind of what they believe startups need, what startups believe themselves that they actually need, which kind of drove me to the Bootstrap Incubator. But then, just like you said, the next step in my journey is going to law school. That'll be fall 2025.
Can you divulge where you're going?
I think so. I think I can get into that. I mean, I've been accepted a couple places. I'm very fortunate that was the case. But
do you know where you're going, or are you kind of still thinking?
I have a very strong feeling that I'll be going to Rutgers because it's over in Camden. I'm a Jersey guy. I'm in South Jersey. It's 20 minutes from my house, and I'm really liking what they're doing over there.
Because you're going to be spending a lot of time in the law library.
That is correct. So the closer I can
roll out and go home and go to fall face first into bed.
Eat lunch, go back, the deal. So that's why it's looking like that's the option.
It's the Camden location, right? Because Rutgers is a big campus.
Yeah, it's big. I mean, I actually went to undergrad at Rutgers in New Brunswick. That's the main campus. But the law school, it's in 2 locations. It's in 2 locations. One is Newark, one is Camden. I don't really want to be.
Camden's a little closer to you. Newark's a little bit far.
Just a tiny bit for those who know where me and you are both located in the world. It's a little closer.
Yeah, absolutely. You can hop, skip, and jump to Philly, which is good. So,
yep.
And Camden's coming around too. Camden's coming around, kind of getting out of its slump as well, which is kind of neat. So,
I've been hearing that for years. I haven't got a chance to check out too much, but a lot of people are saying what you're saying, and that a lot of development is going on over there, and that's always good. So, it's always good to see that taking place.
It's needed because Camden is it's rough and tumble.
Yes, it is.
It's rough and tumble. It's more rough and tumble than North Philadelphia sometimes. So if you know Philadelphia, you know. If you know, that kind of thing. So let's go into a little bit of the trajectory. You were in San Francisco working at CoinGeek, and then, you worked up with 2 startup incubators out there, right?
So sorta, you're close, but you're on track. So over in San Francisco, it was a PR marketing company, and they were called
Okay.
Verma Media, and they're kind of in the heart of startups, emerging technology
Mm-hmm.
companies, and like their real specialty, bread and butter. It was kind of like copywriting, kind of like media placement, helping them get seen in different publications depending on what they were
Mm-hmm.
doing. So pretty right out of college, that's the first, as people say, that was my first big boy job, working
Oh,
for that
you wake
company
up,
over
you're like, oh
there.
my God, I got to actually get into work today. Oh my God.
Fortunately, I was able to work remote, so like I was
Oh,
still able to stay on.
really?
I was yeah,
Wow.
I was working remote very early. That kind of comes full circle post pandemic, but yeah, right out of
Yeah.
school, I had that remote job. So they were over in San Francisco, but like the workforce was kind of distributed all around America. So I was
So were
fortunate
you
that I
in
was able
San
to stay.
Fran, or are you in state in Jersey?
I was in Jersey at the time. I was in Jersey at the time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So you're you're a Jersey boy through and through.
The way everything we said so far confirms that. Like, yeah, I was born over here.
Rutgers,
I
yeah.
went to school over here. I'm going to be going to school over here again. Lived in Philadelphia for a couple of years, but
Yeah.
ultimately came back to Jersey. So yeah,
And the high
that is
property
true.
taxes, exactly. Oh, joke.
Yeah, but yeah, that's true.
But it's
That's maybe.
Jersey. It's Jersey. Nothing wrong with Jersey. But so anyhow, so now you're doing some work with an artificial intelligence, which is really cool. Doing communications, trying to explain what the hell it's going on in AI with a deep seek and all that crap.
Yeah, I mean, that's what people are looking at right now, right? But like,
Yeah.
yeah, I really like the work that I do in that space. I call it like consumer facing AI, right? I mean,
Okay.
in every industry, you're going to have, for lack of better words, right? The nerds who have been so passionate about this since like 1980. However,
Yeah.
like when it really became like popular amongst consumers, it was 2022, right? It was recently.
Yeah.
And I feel like it had to be more accessible. It had to be kind of like cheaper to access. Everybody needs to be able to use it. So I call it consumer facing AI. The
I
chat
love it.
GPTs, you mentioned the deep seek, which everybody's talking about right now, but
Yeah.
that's where
Which
I'm spending a
no one
lot
can
of
get
time
their
and
head
energy.
around unless they're like, oh, I'm looking at it. I'm like, all the servers are in China. I'm like, I'm not anti-China or anything like that, but I'm kind of anti having my data in China. So I'm like,
I,
I'm
I,
gonna hold off a little bit.
I think what you're saying. There's a lot of truth to it. I think like the fear that we saw like in the media in the markets over here. I think it was a little bit overstated.
Wait,
Um,
well, hold on. The media overstating and freaking out. Our media? Oh, come on. You're
who
joshing me. No,
I know you're shocked, you're surprised,
I'm
but
shocked.
but yeah, I think it was a little bit of an overreaction. It's easier to be a copycat than it is to do something first, and they kind of
Yeah,
saw
coming late. And do
they
something.
you copy the smart kids' homework, and you get a equivalent grade, and I think that's kind of what they came in and did.
Exactly. And now AI is all ChatGPT is all screaming like, "You stole our stolen data."
There's a lot
The
of
thing
that
was,
going
I think I'm
on.
like,
Yeah.
oh, how's that feel?
Yeah, and yeah, and it's a bit paradoxical, right? Because people have had that fear for our own tech companies for several years, and now
Yeah,
it's
and they're
kind of
like,
coming
how
full
dare you
circle.
slurp our slurp data? It's like, come on now,
Yeah,
get over it. It's not even your data, guys. Come on, come on.
yeah. So like yeah, but the work I do over there, I mean, it is a lot of communications kind of work, because people are still kind of very new to what's going on there. So just kind of information that we hope it's going to help kind of like decision
Mm-hmm.
makers and governments and corporates and startups make better decisions when it comes to AI. I know words people use are like doing their digital transformation, just kind of give them the
Mm-hmm.
information they need to be as successful as they can be when they go and do that.
Mm-hmm. So, what made you start Bootstrap First Incubator? Like, what made you get
Yeah.
into that? Because that was last year, so it was
Oh
kind of a
yeah,
big thing for you.
this is getting fun, right? Because
Yeah.
this is kind of how me and you first met each other. So like
Yeah.
yeah, I worked at two startup incubators, and to circle back what you said, one was over in London and one was over in Miami in the United
Oh
States.
wow.
And
So you really like the East Coast, don't you?
I don't
You're an
want
East
to
Coast boy, born and raised. Yeah.
I don't want to say I'm biased, but my track
You're
record.
biased. You're biased. Yeah.
So I worked for those two companies, and the thing is like you see a lot of great things that they do and
Mm-hmm.
like the great ways that they do help companies, but at the same time
Absolutely.
I think you become even more sympathetic to startups and like maybe what they believe that they needed and they didn't get at that point in time, or like the resources they feel are crucial but like the incubator just might not be offering them. So
Yeah.
I saw
Absolutely.
things that the incubator did right, I saw things that the incubator did wrong, and I said, you know what, at this point
I
in my
can do
journey.
better. Yeah.
Yeah,
And you
there
did.
was
I mean, I know.
the,
I know. Pete, our mutual friend. It was like loved it. He's like, this is exactly what I needed. And I was like, that's awesome.
There was a degree of that where I'm like, okay, if I've seen what startups really want. I want to go out there and offer to them. I don't want to see startups, kind of leaving disappointed, feeling like they didn't get the full experience that they deserved. And I went and started the Bootstrap Incubator in the Philadelphia area. And just in a nutshell, for those who kind of don't know, helping very early stage startups. Honestly, I say like idea stage, pre-revenue stage, go from that initial concept that they have to hopefully their early adopter launch where, it's in the name Bootstrap. I want them to bootstrap. I feel like a lot of people don't need venture financing in their very early stage of business. And they should be focusing.
Prove your point first. Prove that it's even sustainable and works.
Yeah.
And then look into how you could, if you need funding, great. If you don't, you keep more of your equity.
Yeah. And that they should be, in these early stages, getting clients and customers who have such a strong demand for this thing that they've built. That's kind of what's keeping their company running. They don't have to rely on venture financing, outside money. They can really just have customers and keep the business going.
We're going to take a quick break, hear from our sponsors, and get right back to the show. I love it. And now you're off to law school to bring even more value, which is awesome.
Yeah, that's the next step in the journey.
So you're going to do entrepreneur. What do you think you're going to focus on? Entrepreneur law or?
Yeah, something along the lines of that. I mean, like corporate transactions, corporate governance. Kind of still want to work with these. I don't want to say early stage companies. I think it gets a little broader than that here, but definitely, same kind of world, right? Somebody had a good idea somewhere. They were able to commercialize it, turn it into a business. You face all sorts of business challenges. And I mean, this is even something I realized through my time at incubators and even the previous experiences before that, is that like if a company is truly on the road to success, like they're going to have legal challenges. And, there's all these great people who can offer them support. You can help people with their media support. I've been able to help people with all sorts of, early stage communication support. But if they have a legal challenge, you can't help them with the legal challenge. I can't help them with the legal challenge.
I'm not a lawyer. I don't play one on TV. Exactly.
Yeah. Exactly. So that's why it kind of became like the logical progression, I think, from helping these companies tell their stories. Okay. Helping them do an early adopter launch. All right, now it's time to help them with their legal challenges and really keep moving them down that road to success.
Be a full stack. Instead of full stack developer, full stack helper.
Yeah, that's I'm going to start saying that because that's very accurate.
You can use that. I won't charge you royalties. How's that sound? So awesome. So you've done the in-house. You've done the entrepreneur journey. You're back in-house a little bit with that external bent to it, and then you're going off to law school, and then you're probably going to do a bunch of different things in-house, outside of the house, all that kind of thing. What's the best thing about being an entrepreneur in your mind? Like doing your own thing, kind of thing.
Wow, that's good. I don't even though I would think that somebody would ask me that before, but I don't think I've heard that before. So I think a big part of it is that like you really need to love the challenge that's like in front of you. Like people, I'm trying to think of an example. Like if you're solving a problem for, I don't know, let's use AI because we talked about that today, or you're solving a problem for, let's call it legal tech because we talked a little bit about that today. That like you really need to be in love with the challenge of like, okay, this industry that I'm passionate about in some way, shape, or form has a problem, and a lot of people start with, I have a great idea, I'm going to bring the solution in, but it's really about talking to the people who experience the problem, getting a really good understanding of, what the pain point is, and then coming in with a solution. I think that's to me like one of, the most rewarding parts of it, or like the biggest part of it is just like being in love with that challenge of, hey, there's something going on here that that in this place that I'm passionate about, I want to be the one who provides the solution. Let's see what's going on. And, it's almost like there's an investigative nature to that. You got to go in, you got to do all this research, you got to talk to all these people.
Exactly.
I think that's like a really big part of it. Or like, one thing that I think if anybody has that passion or they love that problem solve, it's gonna keep them going.
Then what keeps you on the flip side? What keeps you up at night? With this whole entrepreneurial journey. That's on the flip side.
So this is good.
Coffee, right?
I cut back because that could help you not sleep. But I think what it is, and I'm happy because I know a lot of viewers are in the Philadelphia area.
Yeah.
I think there's some challenges that the founder doesn't have control over. I'll call them systemic challenges that are just going to make it a little bit more difficult for them to be successful. It's more than coming up with an idea, even if it works and you have the market validation. Like, hey, are you in an area where you can easily build a team and the talent is around you to, honestly quit their jobs, join your team and really grind it out for 6 months, a year to get it into market? If you're
Yeah.
not in an area where that's the case, you're going to have some difficulty. Hey, are you in an area where there's a whole block of investors and they just need to wake up, walk down the street, go to your office when it is time to have that fundraising
There's
conversation?
not many places like that anymore.
Hey, if you don't have that, it's
definitely
gonna
not
be.
Philadelphia. I mean, Philadelphia, that's one of the things. We have a surplus of startups and a dearth of funders. And we're trying to fix that. It's tough.
So that's what keeps me up at night. It's just that, like, hey, you meet great people working on great things, and like it's the fact that the entrepreneur can do everything right and still fail is like what's really tough, and for a lot of reasons that's just beyond their control.
Exactly. So then what is the most important thing to carry with you all the time? Now, this can be as woo-woo as you want to get.
Ooh, this is, I'm trying to think. You've probably heard these answers before. It's 2025. I'm sure smartphone comes into play a lot, right?
All the time, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, right. You can take notes on it. If somebody needs to reach you, they can reach you. I without a doubt, I'm gonna have to go with that one, right? You leave your phone without your house, you feel like
you feel naked.
Yeah, it feels like leaving without your shirt, right? Like something's missing. This isn't right. I gotta go back and get that. So to me, it's gotta be. It's
your whole office is in the phone. It's incredible.
It's gotta be the phone.
It's gotta be the phone, buddy. All right, Patrick, this has been so much fun. Where can people hang out with you the most? LinkedIn, is that the kind of the big place, or where do you hang out the most?
Yeah, I mean, the best place to find me right now.
In law school, you're not gonna be hanging out anywhere besides the law library. Let's be perfectly honest.
I'll give a couple, right? I think the best way to reach me is definitely through LinkedIn. I try to stay active on there. I check it often enough, so I still help entrepreneurs very early stage on like an ad hoc basis. I'm fortunate that my phone is still ringing. People are referring others to me, and that puts a smile on my face. So people can find me through LinkedIn, make contact there initially, and then we'll take it to email or you text me or whatever. I'll throw this in there too. In the Philadelphia area, right now there's a couple good meetups going on. I like Jake Voorhees' sports tech meetup. I mean, he really grew it quickly. It's a good place to be. I mean, he's over 100 people. Companies like Nike are there. Some of the sports betting companies are there. He really grew it. He grew it quickly. You can find me there once a month. The date kind of changes. It's usually like the second or third week. But if you're looking for me in person, I'm friendly. Come approach me, say hello, and we'll have a good conversation.
He does not bite,
Yeah,
exactly.
not anymore. I don't bite anymore.
There we go. All right, Pat, this has been so much fun, and we'll see everyone next week.
That was a great show. If you're enjoying Entrepreneur's Enigma, please consider giving us a review in the podcast directory of your choice. Every review helps us reach new listeners. If you like Entrepreneur's Enigma, consider the other shows on the Marketing Podcast Network at marketingpodcast.net.
Goldstein Media hopes you have enjoyed this episode.